Hey everybody, guess what time of the month it is? It's mining time, so had to use a little prop because you guys find that fun. Anyway, we're going to talk about Bitcoin mining stocks. And I know why nobody digs into them like we do, because it takes a ton of time and thousands of numbers, which you'll see in a minute here. Sorry, I'm back. Okay, let's go. It's 4:20 on 4:20. I'm a couple of minutes late. And let's jump in. Let's talk about the best mining stocks. A couple of things have changed since we did this. We're doing this every quarter. We have a new addition, Core Scientific. And a lot of you are asking, how does it stack up against the others? You're going to have that answer real soon. None of this is financial advice, of course. And there are ratios and ratios and ratios. And there's tons and tons of them. So first of all, a reminder to you all who may not be familiar, a quick refresher to the number of Bitcoin issued per day. It's 900 a day. In 2 years, it'll be 450 a day. And many of the miners we're covering today mine over 10 or 11 or 15 Bitcoin a day, just to give you an idea. So these are the top miners that control a lot of the hash rate. Now, a couple of things before we dig into the actual miners themselves. Over the last couple of weeks, miners started selling more than they have done all year. You see that big yellow spike from Glassnode here? This is the total transfer volume from miners. Now, what's interesting about this chart is, yeah, they start transferring coins, but we don't know where they're going. They're not going to an exchange. We don't know if they're being sold privately OTC, etc. We don't know if they're being sent to somewhere like Celsius to earn yield. We're not sure. But interesting to watch anyway. And some, of course, do have to sell coins to pay expenses, buy new ASICs miners, all that type of stuff. Now this, before we dig in, last time we analyzed all of the performance of all the top miners. Now we're going to do it twice here. Once we're going to look at year-to-date performance. And I know it's been a hard market, a bear market. Things have been down. The number go up technology hasn't been going very number go uppy. But it's fascinating. CleanSpark has won the year-to-date performance of all the miners we're looking at. And just a reminder to you, we're going to look at HODL, Marathon, RIOT, Hive, ARGO, Bitfarms, Core Scientific, and CleanSpark. And CleanSpark, even though it wins, it's still down 6% year-to-date. Bitcoin is down 11%. And HUT is the biggest loser, down 44%. Interesting. HUT has won this competition before. We do it quarterly. I think it won twice in the past. CleanSpark won the last showdown. Guess who's going to win this time? Woohoo! Surprise for you. Now, the performance over the last year is a different situation. Here, over the last year, Bitcoin wins. Yay, Bitcoin outperformed all the miners, up 11%, HUT up 3.8%, and RIOT hammered, loses a ton, 46% down. Now this is over the last 365 days, not since January 1st, 2021, but just the last year. Now, let's talk about the arms race as I see it. I always say it's a cutthroat business. That's why I have my pickaxe here, so I can do a little bit of data mining myself, but in a bid to enhance shareholder transparency, Core Scientific, the new star of the show today, has started just this Monday, reports daily Bitcoin mining production figures on its website. So that's very transparent, which is cool. We love that. They don't all do that, but you can dig into data and calculate exactly how much they're mining month to month and divide by 28 days or 31 days to get the results. Now, the companies we're going to analyze: CleanSpark, ARGO, Hive, Bitfarms, RIOT, Core Scientific, Marathon, and HODL. These are the prices today, the market cap today, and most importantly, the exahash rate today. The exahash rate really drives how many Bitcoin these companies can mine. We've got CleanSpark 2.3, ARGO 1.6, Hive 2, Bitfarms 2.7, RIOT 4.3, Core Scientific 8.3, Marathon 3.9, and HUT 2.54. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean the one with the most hash rate wins, because it costs a lot to get a lot of hash rate. You got to buy a lot of ASICs, you got to burn a lot of electricity, etc., etc. But we look at a whole bunch of ratios that weed that out. Now, the success of a miner and profitability and capital efficiency is a function of the hash rate, power consumption, the cost of the electricity per kilowatt hour. I always say you got to be under 4 cents, 3 cents to make it work. The price of Bitcoin, maintenance costs, and how the management run the operation as well. Let's look at the hash rate real quick. Quick refresher. This is the hash rate over the last 5 years or so. We are now running at about 225 exahashes per second. Remember, 1 exahash per second is 1 quintillion hashes per second. Does anybody know in the audience how many zeros are in a quintillion? Drop it below. That's it. It's literally mind-boggling to calculate that. And it takes about 2.7 quadrillion, I think, hashes to calculate a Bitcoin. That's going up as it gets more and more competitive. And 2.7 quadrillion is what they call 2.7 petahash, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. Anyway, let's talk about all the metrics we look at. We've got 5 or 6 different categories. I can't remember. I rushed so hard to get this done. But Bitcoin balance sheet, number 1, we look at, and this is important. It's kind of the miner hodling ratio. Now, the top winner is Marathon. They now have 8,133 Bitcoin. Of these 8 miners, they are all hodling today about 33,806 Bitcoin. Remember as well, these numbers change all the time due to selling, mining, etc., etc. CORZ is 3rd on the list at 5,296 Bitcoin. HODL is number 2 on the list at 6,460. And CleanSpark is the loser on the list at 1.9% of the share. And I don't know what that is. It's like 600 Bitcoins or something. But they have been selling a lot. And they were actually pretty good watching their sales. They were selling at 55K, 52K, etc. Selling higher than the price of Bitcoin today. So we'll watch all that stuff closely. Now, Bitcoin on the balance sheet as a percentage of market cap. We have a model that calculates this too. Here are the key ratios. Now, the winner, obviously, is the green HODL. 36% of their market cap is actually made up of Bitcoin. That is 6,460 Bitcoin at a price of $41,366 today, I think, approximately when I ran the numbers. Then Bitfarms, number 2, 22.48% of their balance sheet is made up of Bitcoin. Now, remember, what's very important about these numbers and why we like this, if the price of Bitcoin spikes, if it doubles, this will basically mean the price of these underlying assets have to increase very rapidly, just like MicroStrategy. And that's why we like some of these proxies as well. And full disclosures as well, everybody, I have CleanSpark and HODL in my portfolio. Now, number 2 is Exahash Rate. Let's talk about this for a second, but with a couple of other ratios too. So CORZ is a beast with an exahash rate of 8.3. This is a new company. They just IPO'd back in January, and they plan to grow this to 40 by year end. 40 exahash. I have no idea where they're getting all of their miners, but that's their plan. The rest will hover between kind of 2 and 3 exahash mark. But the key thing I want you to focus in on here is what I call the MC over EH ratio. This is the market cap divided by the exahash. And CleanSpark, by this ratio, this IA metric, is the most capital efficient at 162 million per exahash. Then you've got ARGO blockchain, 197 million per exahash is number 2. Number 3 is Core, $273 million per exahash. And then HUT and Bitfarms are kind of joined 4th around the 290 mark. So that is the listing. And again, this stuff changes all the time. Core is a beast. It's a new entrant. I know you're excited to see what happens. So number 3, we're going to look at the IA 2022 profit margins and profit and sales ratios. More financial ratios for all of you who love ratios. So here, a couple of things to train your eye on in terms of sales growth. Marathon is winning, which is peculiar, and the price to sales ratio is the worst. So they got 60.91% sales growth, and 23 is the price to sales ratio. So just so you know, we have a model that pulls data in from the outside, aggregates from different sources, and that runs through a whole bunch of different calculations. So maybe there's a mistake in the data, but we couldn't find it. Anyway, the key really thing to focus here is sales growth is important, and you've got CleanSpark 17%, RIOT 25%. I'm going to ignore Marathon for now because it may be a fishy number. But they're the big ones. But the price to sales ratio is the most important as well. And CleanSpark win the day at 4.22. Bitfarms number 2 at 4.68, and Hive number 3, 4.75. Now, interesting to note, Hive performed badly in these ratios in the past, but they're getting better, which is good. Now let's look at profit margins. Another one to train your eye on is the color code on the right hand side. Here you see gross margin. Hive again, win 86.39% profit margin. ARGO second with 80.73%, and CleanSpark third, 75.76%. And note as well how we pull these stats. There was an interesting one actually. If you look at the Marathon, their gross margin is minus 93%. So again, numbers, some may be wrong, and if they're not wrong, it's a red flag. So watch very carefully. Now, price to book value. The price to book ratio measures the company's market value to its book value. And the market value of a company is its share price multiplied by the number of shares outstanding. And the book value is the net assets of the company. Here, CleanSpark, excuse me, CleanSpark wins at 1.16. The core scientific number kind of didn't make sense because they just IPO'd, so not all the financial data is in the hopper. And number 2 is HODL mining. Number 3 is Hive blockchain technologies. So again, lots of fun numbers. You'll notice as well as you go through this, every single company is different. That's why it's so hard to do this and find the winner. Okay, number 4 is kind of the quick ratio, the ability to cover short-term debts, and the delta from all-time high, which shows you the potential for upside and see where they are. This can also be a red flag if something is really beaten down like 80-90% from all-time highs. But with these types of companies, it's a little bit different. Sometimes they can be oversold for bizarre reasons. So let's look at the quick ratio and 52-week delta ratio. Starting with the 52-week delta. For these companies, Marathon is the most oversold, 75% off its all-time high. It's off its 52-week high, not all-time high, sorry. Which actually happens to be its 52-week high and all-time high, the same thing. And then you have other names, HODL, also very heavily oversold, nearly 73% off its all-time high. You got RIOT Blockchain, 70% off, and Hive, 68% off. So I know that when I talk about tokens, it's a very bad red flag if they haven't made an all-time high in the last 12 months because we are hitting all-time highs in the bull market. So that is traditionally for me a red flag, but for equities, it is different. Now I forgot to mention the quick ratio. Here, this is a concerning one, CleanSpark. The quick ratio is the ability to cover short-term debts with the amount of short-term capital assets you have in your balance sheet. And the quick ratio for CleanSpark is 0.49, which is a little bit concerning. Anything red is concerning. ARGO is concerning. Core Scientific is concerning as well. And then you have Marathon, which has a really, really high number, which means either they're not running capitally efficiently or whatever else. So again, we'll see. Number 5, this is Bitcoin mining predictions for 2022. How many Bitcoin they mine expressed in Satoshis per market cap, a little ratio that we have cooked up. Now, one thing I do want to caveat here before people go mad, the core scientific number I estimated based on mapping out their hash rate growth over the next 12 months and what they're currently producing per day and per month right now. I came up with about 19,800. I sandbagged it a little bit, but it wouldn't surprise me if they beat out 20,000 Bitcoin mined in the year 2022. But remember, it's getting more competitive out there in the space. But if you look at the 2022 target per Bitcoin per billion market cap, you get a different number. And then I decided to calculate the Satoshis mined per dollar of market cap. And this is a fantastic little piece. So you have the losers, Marathon, 297 Satoshis mined per dollar of market cap. That is not very efficient at all. And either is RIOT Blockchain. They get dinged hard, and this is one of my key ratios as we go forward in this. And the best winner is CleanSpark, 1,200. And the runner-up is Bitfarms and Hive. Again, Hive is bubbling up. You got Core Scientific 675 and HODL 661, etc. So this is one of the more important ones. And we take all the ratios and we add weightings to them and create an aggregate score. So next is my price targets. I know you guys love price targets. So here we look at the IA 2022 price target with a PE of 20 and my 2022 overall price target. So take the last one as kind of being a function of growth and potential and exahash rates, and the other one is conservative just based on a financial ratio. So they're two very different ones. So, do your own research, create your own price targets, and it's very difficult to do. It also ties in the price that I believe Bitcoin will hit sometime this year too. So the price targets are the price targets, but that doesn't really make much sense because you don't know where the price is now. But this slide will give you everything you need to know. Here you see the IA price targets average and the gains to hit the target based on the price where we're at today. So for example, ARGO, you've got my $40 price target, my $25 price target, the average is 33. It's currently trading at $8.63. So it needs a 285% gain to hit that price target. So it's nearly a 3x. HODL also has a 3x, 303%. So you can call that a red line or a lot of upside. It depends how you want to look at it. I see it personally as a lot of upside for HODL. It's pretty easy for Hive to get to a doubling, basically going to $2.33 from, or go to $3.67 from my average from $1.77. Not too hard to do, and the others are kind of there. But that's also a key factor of the function of the chart, which is most oversold, which is so much off its all-time high. Once Bitcoin rebounds and they have a lot of HODL on the balance sheet, all of this comes in to determining which one we believe we should invest in. So conclusion, everybody, are you ready? This is the exciting part. So first of all, none of this is financial advice. This is based on tons and tons of numbers, 37 ratios, future exahash predictions, estimates of how much they're going to mine in the year, estimates of how high the hash rate will go, tons of ratios. Please do your own research. I'm just showing you what we look at and how we make financial decisions. So the conclusion, the composite score is a function of a whole bunch of stuff. Exahash over market cap, gains to 2022 targets based on my price prediction models, Bitcoin balance sheet value as percentage of market cap, price to sales, tons of other ratios, profit margins, 2022 target per Bitcoin, per market cap, PE, price targets based on all that type of stuff, and a whole bunch more. So too much to talk about. So this is the composite score of how it actually looks. You've got your market cap over exahash, your Bitcoin, the balance sheet, your book value, your EV minus MC, which is the enterprise value, that's market capitalization, your sales growth, price to sales, quick ratio, gross margin, price to book, delta 52-week high, price predictions, and the overall score. And the winner is, before I go to the winner, a little bit of suspense I've got to throw in here. Red, look at the different colors just in this chart, just as an eye chart. It shows you how each one of these companies is geared differently from a financial perspective. That's why they are a bear to analyze, and you have to create ratios on ratios to get to the truth of where the value is. And the winner is HODL. This is the second or third time they've won over the past year. I've been doing this since the start of the channel. And, barring the company going bankrupt or whatever else, they have a very, very good management team. But I'll talk about them at the end. Number 2, previous winner is now the runner-up, CleanSpark. They're number 2. They have a lot of good things going for them, a couple of bad things, but overall, they're still a very good shop. And number 3, first time ever, they made third place. Hive Blockchain. Congratulations to Hive. They really, kudos to them. Over the last year, they've organized their financial ratios. They've gotten a lot better at what they do. So great work to the team at Hive. Now, this is the HOT chart. A couple of key things to note here. When you look at the RSI, it is very oversold right now. We are under the 50-day moving average. HOT is rarely under that. As you can see, that's a red line on the chart. I drew in a little green line as well to show you where the floor is, the kind of price floor support area, especially over the last 8 or 9 months. And it's been bouncing off that pretty well, particularly since, for the whole of 2022. And we are currently at about $4.50. That is US dollars, ladies and gentlemen, not Canadian dollars. Don't get those two confused. And we'll see. Remember, this one tracks very closely to Bitcoin, except for a lot more volatile. In fact, that could be another pair trade model. All these ideas, so little time. So HODL arbitrage model, just for everybody who's interested. If you want to be a whole coiner for Bitcoin, you need 26,492 HODL shares to have one Bitcoin. And when you do the math, that's expensive. That's $115,000 to get one Bitcoin. But remember, they're at 36.04% Bitcoin in their balance sheet compared to the actual value. They HODL 6,460 Bitcoins. I reckon at this rate, they're mining 10 or 11 a day. You can calculate how long it's going to take them to get to 10,000 Bitcoin, and they'll become a key holder of Bitcoin as they go forward. Again, this is a function of the HODL price today of $4.35 and a Bitcoin quote of 41,537. Now, if Bitcoin goes to $100,000, the fully diluted roof price of HODL would be about $6.56. But remember, it's much more volatile. It goes up much higher. Like if for example, if Bitcoin hits a new all-time high with their HODL ratio and everything else, and the ability to mine Bitcoin at that value, that'll easily go back to $12. So that is what's interesting about this game. That's why I love these assets. Now, a couple of quick notes on HODL. Keep in mind, they have a great management team, very proud, very respectful of their management team, and they're very cautious, yet they do believe they will hit 6 exahash as their year-end goal. That's more than doubling from where they are today. They also, people will sometimes miss this, they have high margin Ethereum mining, which is about 13% of production. And that will end this year or whenever Ethereum moves to proof of stake. So that money will go away. And the management team are planning around that as well already. And number 3, HODL appears to be reasonably priced with forward PE at about 10 and a forward EV EBITDA near 7. So again, it's a cheap stock in relative terms. If Bitcoin goes up, if Bitcoin goes bonkers, they'll do really well. And finally, they mine between 10 and 11 Bitcoin a day. So goodness all over the place for these guys at HODL. Again, do your own research, but prepare to spend a lot of time in spreadsheets to get this done. So everybody, hope you like it. You guys have been asking for this, for the updates. You've been asking for Core Scientific. We added it. If we go back, just as a reminder, Core Scientific, it actually scored really poorly compared to expectations for how they are growing. But remember, growth costs a lot. So they fell down on price to sales, sales growth, quick ratio, gross margin, delta from 52 week high. These are areas where they got dinged, but they will be a force to be reckoned with in the future. But remember, they just IPO'd from SPAC, and I think they've got a bright future ahead. But currently, per all the financial ratios, not so much. So hope you like the content. If you want to hit more of the broadest, most quant-driven YouTube channel, you got it right here. So we do nothing but we're sponsored today by, what did I say? Pickaxes. Yeah. This is a brand new one. No, it's actually a vintage pickaxe from a long time ago. So thanks all. Have a good day.